So what was still that, I guess, like sparking point for you to stop creating manual flashcards and actually create, your own software? Like, was there a specific thing that inspired you?
I'm always a systems kind of guy. So like I would always try to optimize as much stuff as possible. Maybe a bit more lazy now, but even when I was back in like aged 14 to 18-ish, I would always obsess over systems. So software systems, so like my to-do list, I downloaded pretty much all the to-do list apps there are and tried out all the systems. So the GTD system, which is getting things done system, that's applied to to-do list. I also looked at calendar systems, right? How to do time blocking and all the other methods that there are. I always have a passion, right? So to optimize stuff. I'd say the biggest takeaway is to really dream big. In terms of, don't sort of like, if there's a challenge, don't sort of limit yourself and limit your capabilities and think that it's something that you can't be done, right? Being able to go through that hurdle of initially thinking that I wasn't able to do it is really important, that I think everyone should take away. If there's any sort of hurdles during anything, or any passion projects, during your work, during school, anything, just don't sort of give up so quickly.
Guys, before we get into the podcast, 91.6% of you guys are not subscribed. So please do hit the subscribe button, since it will help get even crazier guests and blow up the channel. So yeah, let's get back into the video.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Gen Z Fastlane. Today we have Jason here, who is the founder of Memo and also doing his third year in medical school, HKU. So Jason, why don't you do a brief introduction of yourself?
Yep, thanks Bosco. Hello everyone, so my name is Jason. I'm currently the co-founder of Memo. We used to be called PDF to Anki. So we're, in one line, basically, we help students from around the world study more efficiently by converting the resources that you have into very exciting learning resources such as flashcards, notes, etc., using the help of AI. And the ultimate aim is to power and get as many academic super weapons as possible using software around the world. And I'm currently pursuing medicine, so I'm applying a lot of the study principles that we are learning in terms of study science into designing and building our software to help students learn better around the world. Yeah.
Awesome. So I've actually used Memo, I guess, a couple of days ago because I have an upcoming test, and I just uploaded in PDF. So it's actually really surprising how you can easily just generate, definition cards, and you have like so many different options. So before we dive into the overall features, like what was the inspiration to start this startup?
Yeah, so it was kind of interesting story. So back in first year of med school, I realized it was really, really hectic, like in terms of the study load. So I'm sure everyone knows like how there's just a lot of information to know. Even non-med students know about that. But we didn't expect it to be like, we had high expectations of the super high study load going in, but it still blew our minds, like in terms of how much we had to know. So during preclinical, we had tons and tons of subjects that we need to do. Not just, so medicine is really an all encompassing umbrella subject. So in preclinical years, especially during year 1 and 2, we did anatomy, physiology, microbiology, public health, evidence-based medicine, pathology. There's a lot more. Yeah, so it's really, we need to find what our study styles were and how to really optimize it. So me and my peers really started looking into what are the best like study methods that we can to optimize our time. Because most importantly, we want to study smart, but not study hard. So at that time, we were doing a lot of stuff manually. So we stumbled upon this sort of method called active recall and spaced repetition. Yeah. So both of these methods are really in sort of the S-tier study technique, where active recall is basically you keep on testing yourself. So instead of like, for example, reading passively, like highlighting, etc., what we would do is we would try to test ourselves instantly. So after the lecture, maybe we would test ourselves between each other, right? Or maybe test ourselves using flashcards. So exactly, that's how we stumbled upon flashcards, because flashcards inherently is a testing method with a question and the answer at the back. So keep on testing ourselves and really activating our brain. And so that's why I really got into flashcards in my first year of school. And spaced repetition is basically a method instead of the opposite of cramming. So in cramming, where we would try to basically shove in so much information before the exam, which works during like in my years before, but when I realized the heavy study load that we had is practically impossible to cram before the exam, so we had to really space it out. But how we space that out is so crucial, because as humans, right, where we have a tendency to forget, right? So really, what I think about learning is it's actually undoing forgetting. So if you just, instead of just scrap all of the existing philosophy of learning, like, oh, just shoving information in, but it's actually trying to unset or undo the forgetting that we have. So how do we undo the forgetting? Is keep on repeating in a systematic or algorithmic way that's best suited for our memory. So there's this app called Anki. So Anki is this open source app that really started, I think, a long time ago. At the start, used for language learning, because language learning, again, same problem, tons and tons of vocab to learn, and it is just like you have to space it out. So Anki does it really well because they really pioneered the idea of having this algorithm where you grade yourself after every question, and then it'll try to schedule when the card will show up in the future. So at that time, you see again, it'll refresh your memory. So we brought that idea. I was really into Anki. That the main problem is at the end of the first year exam, every single day I would make so many flashcards. Like I would spend 5 hours making flashcards just to test ourselves, because, all right, I'm going to test myself on this knowledge. I'm going to put it into Anki, and it's going to do all this magic for me, scheduling all these cards when I'm going to do it. But I'm just spent so much time making the cards instead of testing myself and doing the cards. So at that time, it was really the hype where ChatGPT came in. And actually, after our first year exams, we were talking. So like me and my friends were talking, like, is it possible that we could really maybe use AI to actually help in our process? And especially in the niche of flashcards, at that time, we looked it up. Like practically no one's doing it. Like we're doing a lot of the other stuff, for example, like tutoring, like AI tutor or customer support, etc. But within the flashcards niche, we can't find any software. So I was like, okay, sure, I'm gonna help maybe do something here, right? I made up like a little prototype where really simple. You just put in the lecture material that we had, and it'll spit out flashcards, which is what we practically do every single day for 5 hours. So, and then it did it in like 5 seconds. So that's where it started. Like really, it was a problem that we inherently had. And then we saw the technology, and then we see if it could solve our problem. And then it really started from there. Yeah, it's been really exciting.
Nice. So like delving more into this overall, startup, what was the overall timeline? Like I saw that you started about like 1 year and 3 months ago, from like launching your MVP to actually releasing it in public and, having these different subscription models.
Yeah, it's been so, as you said, 1 year and 3 months. At the start, it was really scrappy because it was kind of funny. I had some basic websites building skills. I did have a hobby of building websites ever since I was 12, but nothing as fancy as a web app that could serve like 100,000 users across the world. So at the start, it was really for an internal tool for us. And I was like, yeah, this is going to be hallucinating a lot. We might as well do our cards our own. Maybe it's not going to actually save much time, really. But I tried, right? So I used some simple Python and made like a very simple app, and it worked really cool. And we shared it on the internet, actually. And one of the videos my co-founder Calvin made, actually blew up. And overnight, we had so much traffic coming in that our servers were not handling it, and I didn't know what to do. It was really really interesting. Like it was a first one, it was like it was a good problem that's coming in. So really a lot of learning on the journey. So of scaling and doing everything from like the infrastructure, how to handle. So we started like 10,000 users. Now we have 100,000 users, and also being able to handle payments as well. The pricing, how we price, really a lot of the stuff that we really did not have no idea about. We had to learn on the fly, and a lot of the information really was from the internet. Actually, a ChatGPT, which is really useful because it's a really good like advice guy. Could be a business advice guy, a programming guy as well as YouTube and Twitter, like and X, right? So a lot of stuff we had to learn and figure out on the way, but it was super rewarding because it's really the reverse of classroom, right? In the classroom, we would learn and then apply, but here we have the end goal in mind, right? It's maybe a simple goal, right? It's a goal like, oh, can we fix this bug, right? Or maybe add a paywall. So the start was like, I have no idea how to add a paywall, and then I would actually find information how to do it and then do it. And then that's how I think we learned so quickly in terms of how to build a SaaS and scale to so many users that we have right now. Yeah.
Awesome. So like, I just keep thinking like in the back of my head, because so many people from HKU, if they go to medical school, like I would say 99.9% will eventually become doctors, right? Or probably like more than that. So what was still that, I guess, like sparking point for you to like stop creating manual flashcards and actually create your own software? Like, was there a specific thing that inspired you to do this?
I'm always a systems kind of guy, so like I would always try to optimize as much stuff as possible. Maybe a bit more lazy now, but even when I was back in like aged 14 to 18 ish, like I would always obsess over systems. So software systems, so like my to-do list, I downloaded pretty much all the to-do list apps there are, and tried out all the systems. So the GTD system, which is getting things done system, that's applied to to-do list. I also looked at calendar systems, right? How to do time blocking and all the other methods that there are. And I would always have this sort of just makes me I always have a passion, right? So to optimize stuff. And if there is a thing that is a novel technology such as LLMs, right, that came in hot and actually can do a lot of stuff, but we just need to be able to think of what the applications are, I would just have so many ideas on how it could be applied in my own life, right? Different things that could be optimized during my routine or during my day, and apply that hopefully using some trial and error and see if it really helps out. Yeah, because I think time ultimately is one of the most valuable assets. I mean, for our age, we have infinite time, so it'll be cool. But like still, it's one of the assets that cannot be sort of bought back. So like if there is any way we could save time, it's always a plus, I think. Yeah.
Nice. So I guess it's overall mainly your personality, right? Which kind of also like played a huge role in creating this startup. So speaking more about like tutors, right? Can you expand like more of the functions of the tutors that you have in Memo, and what do you think the future implications of AI tutors would be?
Yeah. So we actually have like this sort of AI tutor mode in our app Memo. Not as so we're not in like really into the AI tutor space. We do offer AI tutoring as well on our platform, which is basically you upload your PDF or maybe your YouTube video or audio. We also support live audio transcription now, so you could sort of like record your lecture live and then ask the tutor like, oh, what did the teacher just say? Can you explain to me? Something like this. So this sort of concept where the tutor is basically trained on a custom set of material that you are going to be examined on maybe. So, and then that tutor, so what our philosophy is, so our tutor, instead of giving you the answer it's sort of similar to Khan Academy's tutor system they have on there, is that it'll actually try to guide you along. So I structured it in sort of like a 10 mini lesson thing. So, sorry, like a mini lesson, 10-minute mini lesson, where basically you go on this tutoring with this AI tutor, and then it'll try to like test you or ask you questions, or maybe if you something, if you don't get, or if you don't get a particular concept, we'll try to guide you to the answer instead of like ChatGPT, will just give it straight to you. So we want to fundamentally nail the understanding bit. So the bit where you try to understand the concept, in which is a really crucial part of learning, besides on top of factual recall, right? On top of factual recall, the memorizing bit, understanding is also super crucial for a lot of the subjects. So I think AI Tutor is super useful in this bit, because it really helps you be able to sort of ask any questions without any judgment or any delay, right? You could just, it's 24/7, ask the question. So that's what we're doing. It has an AI tutor that's 24/7. You don't have to be hesitant or judged by asking stupid questions. And it's also trained on a particular information or material, like for example, your syllabus, your class, your lecture, that you will be aiming towards. So there's huge potential in how schools and students and teachers could use these sort of methods to help augment the original learning that we have, right? To enhance the original learning to have. So out of school where the teachers and professors are not available, right? This really comes in really perfect. So there's huge potential in the future, and we're just basically scraping it right now. Yeah.
Awesome. So speaking more about the future vision of Memo, and like, what are your core growth channels right now, other than, that video that blew up? And, since you're currently on 13K US MRR, you're probably planning to expand even more. So like, what's the overall plan right now?
Yeah, so we know our target users right now are students, right? So this could be for high school students, majority of high school students, as well as university students. So yeah, fits our boat of Gen Zs. So Gen Zs are on social media, just like me and you. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on TikTok, we're on LinkedIn. Maybe not so LinkedIn, I'm not too sure. But like we're on like all the short form viral content media engines, right? So this includes Instagram and TikTok and YouTube Shorts. So a lot of the marketing right now we do organically are all short form content, particular Instagram, right? Because that's how they really that's a primary channel that they discover us. One benefit is that it really directly reaches our user base really fast, free and in a fast way. And in terms of our long-term growth, right? Our long-term growth we have like sort of opportunities of actually schools and teachers reaching out to us, because they found the tool is also useful for designing curriculum, right? For designing learning or teaching resources. So we've been sort of exploring the idea of like sort of understanding the needs. So we are currently in talks with particular teachers in Hong Kong and schools where what are their particular needs, like for example, in designing course curriculum or in designing simple teaching resources such as worksheets. Those could be really useful for them. So in the long term, we're sort of having this vision of also empowering teachers on how we could use this sort of innovative technology to enhance and augment the traditional classroom learning that they have. And yeah, so that's mainly we have the consumer side as well as in the future the school side as well. Yeah.
Awesome. So having these more partnerships. So I guess for another future vision, how about for yourself? Like if this becomes like a huge company and you manage to, get this on, public company, like would you be still pursuing this, I guess, like medical degree, or will you be more like, of an entrepreneur, lifestyle and stuff like that?
Yeah, so this is a very like common question. A lot of like people ask me and my co-founder. It's very interesting because what I originally started doing medicine, the whole idea is I really enjoyed learning, right? I was really like quite nerdy in the learning science, right? So that's why we started this sort of thing of how how we can hack our brain. So one of the YC questions, really, if you apply, we've applied to Y Combinator, and unfortunately this time we didn't get in as the first time. But one of the very interesting sort of story that when we applied is one of the form questions. What I found one of the most fascinating questions that I've ever even been asked about when applying to YC is so YC is basically a startup incubator in San Francisco, where they've basically had an amazing community of founders. Like from they had an alumni network with like from Stripe, Airbnb, and Instacart. So it's really fascinating there, and really suits us. So one of the really cool questions that they asked us to each of both of us is what is one of the what is one of the systems that you've hacked, right? That you're most proud of, want to tell you, that is not computer related. So it's kind of like counterintuitive, because hacking, when you think of hacking, is you're hacking computers, right? You're hacking maybe the first things when we think of hacking computers, maybe adjusting a grade in school, that sort of stuff. But then it says, nothing technical, nothing computer related, which is kind of interesting. So one of the things that I thought about doing was really hacking, instead of the computer system, our own biological brain, right? Of understanding what the neuroscience is and how to learn more efficiently. So ever since before med school, I was really into the sciences, into the biology. So that was the passion that drove me towards med school, as well as the ability to actually talk to people. Like one of the things that I really enjoy is talking with people, and this career really is one of the few careers in the science field that's not in the lab. Yeah, so that's not in the lab. So that's really drove me towards medicine, and I think right now I will still continue to pursue medicine until. So it's a long journey. Currently, I'm on my third year, but it's actually 6 years medical school. So, however, I see there's so many opportunities. So I'm currently in my third year. And I said I'm not going to be in a lab, but right now I'm doing research as well on the side. I'm doing research, yeah. And I'm currently looking into digital health, and super fascinating because it's really combining both sides of my passion. One of is healthcare and science, and one side is the digital side, in terms of, like, for example, the computer science side, the engineering side, and combining those both really could be super cool in the future. Like there's a huge opportunity to be able to scale and help a lot of people in the future. So I think having, like, completing med school is definitely one on my agenda, to be able to unlock opportunities to see what problems can be solved in the world. Yeah.
Awesome. I really like how you emphasize the point on just pursuing your passion, right? Like, even though many people will say, if you pursue a medical degree, you're only going to become a doctor. That's kind of not true. It's just, pursuing something like actually enjoy learning and things like that. So for, any users or any viewers who are currently listening to this podcast, like, what would be your biggest takeaway that you've, heard or you've personally encountered in the last 21 years of your life?
One of the biggest takeaway. Wow, I've got a lot of takeaways. It's hard to say a biggest one. I'd say the biggest takeaway, is to really, I think, really dream big, in terms of don't sort of like, if there's a challenge, don't sort of limit yourself and limit your capabilities and think that it's something that you can't be done, right? It's sort of incredible. Like, this software development side, I was a total noob, and I was so many instances where I thought I just couldn't do it. Let's just get someone or outsource the engineering. And especially whilst also studying, like, the neuroscience block as well in medical school. So it was really tough. But I did it. I really actually with the help of AI in this field of AI. So that's why I really strongly believe about the idea of AI tutoring. Is it really helped me learn and get over the hurdle of the technical side, because ultimately, as we're a software startup, a lot of the development side is very technical, and being able to go through that hurdle of initially thinking that I wasn't able to do it is really important, that I think everyone should take away. If there's any sort of hurdles during anything, or any passion projects, during your work, during school, anything, just don't sort of give up so quickly, especially now in the field of internet and web and AI. There's so many, and all the people around us with social networks and LinkedIn being able to reach Bosco like you. It's like, if you're stuck, just reach out, ask for help. If not, there's always internet, there's YouTube, social network. There's like infinite, right? Compared to like 20 years ago, it's really a mild, drastic difference in the world that we live in. So I think dream big. Don't let what the skill sets that we have limit what we want to do. Yeah.
Awesome. Really appreciate you hopping on the podcast, Jason. I think your story is probably one of the more inspiring stories, mainly because you wouldn't really expect a medical student from any school to create their own startup and scale it so long time. So I hope for any medical students or anyone who's pursuing like a more traditional path, they can also think about pursuing something passionate about, and think of like pain points. And with AI especially, actually, it's super easy to do.
I agree. Like it's instead of, I think it's always worth thinking about ways that is not the traditional path, as you said. There's so many different types of career options that we can pursue nowadays, and it's always, I think, worth step one is to just identify problems in the world. Yeah, very simple problems, very niche problems. So I would always just get myself out there, right, and then see as many industries, or be in the shoes of as many people, so you experience more and see what the problems are. Because once you can spot a problem, that's an opportunity to be found.
Yeah, well said there. Yeah, if anyone wants to reach out to Jason, I'll link all of his contacts in the description. And hope you guys enjoyed this.
I should be at Protect Jason on all the socials.
They got you. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Until the next one, peace out.
Peace out.